All right, welcome everybody to our board meeting on August 12th, 2026. I will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Sam, if you wouldn't mind doing a roll call, please.
Sure. Angel,
Here.
Terry,
Here.
Violetta,
Here.
Christine,
Here.
Gabby, not here. You've ascertained your quorum.
All right, let's do Pledge of Allegiance real quick.
Ooh, am I sharing?
You are.
Yes.
Solid work. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. For the agenda tonight, I'm going to make a motion to swap items 4 and 5 on our agenda so we can do the head administrator report before finances because it's going to be a long finance session and we don't want our teacher to have to wait for her spotlight moment. So outside of that, though, I think the agenda is fine.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, and then the minutes for last meeting on July 22nd, I took a look at them earlier. Sam, the only note that I had was, I don't know if it was you or your helper, was still putting Ray on there, but he doesn't need to be not attended anymore. So I just removed it already, so they should be good exactly how they are. So, okay, so I will make a motion then to approve the minutes as they are from the 7/22 meeting.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Cool. All right, Alexis, let's move straight over to the head admin report.
All right. We were looking at numbers yesterday, and unfortunately, we had a lot of parents who enrolled their kids, but then didn't follow through. So we've had a lot of no-shows. So we currently, after today, because I just enrolled 4 new students, we're at 401 students. So our magic number is 426. I would like to get it above 430. But definitely we need a push for sixth, seventh, and eighth grade students. Elementary is pretty solid. We have a couple of spaces in kinder, but I'm pretty sure we'll fill those before the end of this week. Um, so that's kind of been our big thing. Trying to reach out. I think we called every parent of a kid who didn't show up. It was like, hey, are you going to show up? So that's kind of the hard part. But it's other than that, the start of the school has been pretty good. We are fully staffed, which is nice. Not having, to still hire anybody. I'm trying to think. Other than that, last week the elementary kids all had their flavor first day, which was amazing to see all of the teachers doing their flavors and the kids participating was really nice. We are also fully moved over into Synergy. And we did trainings all spring, but until you actually start using it, you do not know how to use it. So it's been a crash course. Daily, Zoom calls where we Zoom and be like, okay, so how do you pull up attendance? And so it's been interesting, but we're getting there. We have been really focused this past week on getting parents into parent view. So I've been dealing a lot of parents being like, I can't get in. So resending them their username, their passwords, and trying to get them to update their information because when we rolled over, we had a lot of things that somehow didn't make it. So like if you had like 6 people on your kids list, only one person rolled over. So I need you to add those people back. So that's definitely a work in progress. Other than that, I'm looking for where I'm at. Other than that,
I
things
have a
are going
question
well.
before you move on.
Yes.
I know you had a meeting with the Synergy folks. Did you fix the app issue?
Yes, we fixed that last week. And it was funny because it was just a box that needed to be unchecked, but every time I went to that box, it was grayed out.
Ah,
And I'm like, how I have complete admin access. How are their boxes grayed out? If
yeah,
I can't do it, who can do it?
right. Okay, I'll go back in and check and
Yeah.
make sure.
Yeah. So it should be functioning now.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions about the beginning of the year?
So the only question I have is let's you and I get together. I guess it's more of a statement to talk about enrollment ideas,
Yes.
specifically for middle school. I did send you that list. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet. But I think there's a bunch on there that we can get really creative in trying to think of. I really just for the group, there was a idea that I asked ChatGPT just for some out of the box creative ideas for enrollment. And one of them was like a tour the school as a student for a day kind of thing. And I know we do have some days that LCPS has off that Explorer is still in school. So we may be able to make use of some of those days specifically for middle schoolers. Because once you get to middle school, you're trying to appeal to the student prior to appealing to the parent. So if we can get some student interest specifically who can then ask their parents to go to Explore, I think that would be a really great thing. So if anybody else has out of the box like enrollment ideas that may be really great specifically for middle schoolers, feel free to send them to Alexis and I, and we'll keep talking and we'll keep, brainstorming and doing what we can. But I think we can still get there. It's gonna take some work though.
And the number is not insurmountable. We're talking about 12 sixth graders and 11 seventh graders and 5 eighth graders. So it's not like a big number, but that chunk right there is a huge chunk for us financially. So
Yeah. All right. Otherwise, I'm really excited that we started school. Everything's going well. Do you want to update everyone on construction
oh,
for
yeah,
next
I
month?
always forget about that. Yes.
Okay.
The kitchen construction is not quite done, but we are functioning. So we were able to block off kind of an area in building one where they cook all the breakfast and lunch. We still need a door and we still need a counter, but other than that, we're up and running. And it's kind of nice because now it's separated out and we don't have to worry about kids ending up back behind the serving line where they're not supposed to be. So that has been a big change. We also have a walk-in cooler in the back, so we have more storage space. Um, so we're slowly increasing capacity. We did have a freezer go out, so we need to buy a new freezer, but we're putting that in
Grant
the,
should cover it.
huh?
The grant should cover it.
The grant should cover it. So we have that waiting for approval in the DFA portal. As soon as they approve that, then we can move on that freezer. And I'm here to tell you that when a freezer goes out, and when you come in on a Monday and it's 90 degrees in the freezer, it smells really bad, really bad.
Gross.
It was so gross. All right. Anything else I'm forgetting?
You want to talk about the Telshore construction and plea for public?
Oh, yes. So I don't know if I told you guys this in the spring, but the city had put together a proposal for what that Telshore Spruce intersection was going to look like. And in that, basically, they're putting a median. And so if you're coming up from Spruce, you can turn left, but the median is going to block you from our parking lot. It blocks everybody past Viva Dodge. So the only way you can get into our parking lot is if you're coming north on Telshore from like Target. Then you can turn in. So like I come up Spruce, I'm going to have to turn right, whip around, come in and come in. So whatever, right? I'm a biology teacher. What do I know? But two of my concerns had to do with that northbound lane. It doesn't have a light. And so it's going to be a straight through. So very concerned about the speed at which people will be coming through that lane. And I did mention that to the city. But my second most important point is on Fridays, our parents block the street. And so currently on Fridays, parents line up along Telshore and there's enough space to get around them, though it is a traffic hazard. And I've asked them not to do it, but you know how that is. And I'm concerned that when they make that northbound lane, that there won't be enough room for traffic to go by. And I've asked repeatedly for clarification, but nobody takes me seriously. So I did send Leslie to construction meeting because that happened like on the second day of school. And they are looking to start construction in September. I think, Angel, you told me September 21st. There was some concern because somebody named Sue was mad about stoplights, but she must have gotten over it. And construction is starting. So all of us are actually kind of a little excited because we're really tired of people turning left when they leave the parking lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be interesting having people having to go south to go north, though, especially
Yes.
coming from Spruce. Otherwise, you're going to have to go all the way down to Loman and back up, which
Yeah.
isn't terrible, but it adds, 5, 6 minutes to a drive.
Yeah. The nice thing is that berm stops at that next road where the storage unit is and the daycare. And there's what is the round thing called? A cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac.
So you can go in and it's actually big enough for the buses to kind of go in and flip a U and then come back. I'm just a little worried that if that backs up, then that backs up the whole
Right.
of everything. So, but I mean, it's not like we have a vote on it, so we just have to work with it.
And so I think some of the mitigation, just from what you and I talked about for the group, is we're going to try and get more and more and more children on the buses so parents don't have to come to the parking lot at all and they can pick them up at the first bus stop or the second bus stop or whatever's closest to their house or whatever is in a convenient place for them. It doesn't have to be by their house, just to get more and more people off the campus from
Quick.
picking up and dropping off kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll
And
keep
that's been my message for the last year, right? Like if you want to avoid this, I mean, we can clear it on a good day in 15 minutes, but if you want to avoid this, meet them at the first bus stop wherever you want. Pick one and that's your stop. I mean, the first stop gets dropped off in 7 minutes. So we'll see. I think once the construction starts and people realize what a pain it is, we'll get more people on the bus.
fingers crossed.
Yes, I would ride the bus.
My kids love the bus. They think
Yeah.
it's the greatest thing ever. They get mad when I take them to school.
Well, I love when your kids get off the bus because I get a nose boop first thing in the morning.
Good times.
All right. Questions? Oh, Terry.
How is it going with, I know you've been talking to them about the video on the buses and how
Oh,
are things? Any progress? No
we have
progress.
a meeting with Dan. What day is today? Wednesday? We have a meeting with Dan on Friday?
Friday
Yes.
morning.
Friday morning.
Okay, and then just for me to jot down, what's day 40? What is the actual day? 40 days, the 40 days, September.
It is not. I want to say it's like October 14th. I have it written down.
Oh,
October 13th, I think, is what Josh told me yesterday.
Yeah,
October.
13th.
Okay.
Josh can
October
confirm
13th.
once he comes back
Yeah.
on.
It's just a generic 40th day. It's not an actual 40th day.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So that makes me feel a little bit better because I was losing sleep thinking, oh my God, I have to get these kids in here now. We have some time to try to enroll. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is like kids at the traditional middle schools, they're in classes of 30 plus, right? Bring your kid to a class of 18. you know, less drama, more one-on-one attention, So I just have to find the time to kind of sit down and craft how I want to say that, and then I'll start posting it all over Facebook.
Yeah, I think it's my belief that they don't know those. There's just a group out there that don't know what we're offering, like those
Mhm.
things. And
Yeah.
I also wonder about if they know that if I got this right, the children can go do extracurriculars sixth, seventh, and eighth, or seventh and eighth. Here, you can't do anything in sixth grade. You can't join until seventh and eighth grade. They feel like the first year is sixth grade is like they better just turn around and understand school,
Transition.
much less do another
Right.
thing. But anyway, that they could do those things at their home territory school. They
Yes.
could, right? Okay.
Yes, they can.
And do you think that they know that? Do you think they know they can?
No, I don't think so. So that's going to be part of my
Okay.
message as well.
Because like you said before, it's about more about the students than the parents now, and
Mhm.
that's important to the students. They want to
Yes.
do those things.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, then I will cede the floor to Miss Sarah Johnson. She's one of our first grade teachers. She teaches STEM, so math and science. And I'm just really excited to hear all about her flavor and what she's doing in her class because the first grade team is rock solid. I love them.
I just promoted her.
All right, Miss Johnson, the floor is yours. Tell us about your flavor. She's like, nah.
Sorry,
We can hear you.
can you hear me now? There, yay. Okay, hi, I'm Sarah Johnson, and I do teach first grade STEM, like Mrs. Black was saying. I have two flavors. They're very similar. One is called Camping Through the Season, and one is Exploring the Wonders of the Forest. Where do you camp? You camp in the forest, typically. I mean, obviously not always, but they kind of go hand in hand. Let's see here. We like to incorporate Miss Bernal is the other first grade teacher, and we work very closely together, and it helps just make camp first grade one cohesive grade level, and we love it all, and it's been amazing. This is my 3rd year there, and we do things like we learn about park rangers, so we're learning about like national parks in the United States, and they learn what a park ranger is and what their job is, and so that actually becomes a title in our classroom as a job, and the park ranger gets to help lead calendar and morning meetings. We have another job called Bear Patrol, and in the campgrounds, you have to make sure that your food is put away when you're camping, and you have to make sure things are taken care of and you don't leave trash out because it attracts the bears. So we have Bear Patrol, and they help tidy up the classroom and make sure the breakfast trash is, just giving them some responsibilities. And our other job that we have is they're cabin counselors. Our tables are cabins, and so the kids are assigned cabins, and they get to have ownership in their cabin. They get to take care of their cabin. They get to help clean their cabin. They pass out papers to their cabin, all of the little things, and their jobs are the cabin counselors. Those jobs rotate weekly, so they get to do this job for a whole week, and then rotate through, and we try to get everybody through all of the different jobs at least once. Everybody gets to do them all, if not multiple times. Let's see here. We, at the end of the year, so we work all year long on teaching different types of skills and learning like flashlights and shadows, and light reflection is one of our science aspects that we do. So we talk about that in the forest, and how trees cast shadows depending on where the sun is at, or even the moon. If the moon is really bright, it can make the trees have shadows in the forest, and bats in the forest, and how they use echolalia to communicate with each other. So we just try to incorporate a lot of different forest type sounds and lights in our learning with our science standards. Math is math. So they might have like, let's see here, I have like little forest type objects, because one of the first grade standards is measuring with a non-standard unit. So I have little forest objects like little mushrooms that are all the same size, and little logs that are all the same size, and the kids learn to measure things with those non-standard units, but they're like foresty type stuff, or little campers or whatever it might be. But I mean, math is math, so you can't really turn a 2 into a tree, or, so we do incorporate a lot of the pictures and the ideas and stuff of the forest and camping and campfires and stuff into math, but math is math. So science is where we get to put more of that into it. We do, the end of the year, we have like a big camp day, and we have tents that we put out on the campus, and the kids get to go in the tents and have like games. There might be tic-tac-toe, or we have like a Velcro foam axe throwing activity that the kids get to do. We set up a little pool where they get to go fishing. We have I bring a little campfire. It's propane, but I bring a little campfire, and the kids get to roast marshmallows, and they get to roast their hot dogs for their lunch, and just kind of incorporate different camping concepts on our playground area of our cement school. We try to make it as forest friendly as we possibly can, but the kids have a lot of fun, and it's something that like these kindergartners saw last year's our first graders this year, when they were kindergarten last year, saw last year's first graders doing these activities. So they come up and they're already like, when do we go camping? When are we making s'mores? And I'm like, whoa. So they see those things happening, and they're already excited for it and wanting to know when we get to do it. Our big project that we do is a research project, and last year we picked 9, what did we pick? 9 national parks, and we divided the kids into groups, and then they had little research assignments that they had to do. Some we did in class, some they did at home. They researched the animals that live there, the plants that grow in their national park, the activities that visitors can do when they visit these national parks. And they got to build, in my class, they got to build like as a group, a diorama type concept of their national park, and they got to pick different concepts from their national park. And we got some of the middle school students came over and helped the first graders sit and paper mache and hot glue and paint and do all the different things. And the kids really had fun. They interacted well with the eighth graders. It was mostly eighth graders that came, and the kids learned. And then they got to present. We set up the dioramas, and the kids in Miss Bernal's class had been working on the reading part and the writing part and that part of it, because that's the reading and writing part. And then they got to come in. The other kids would come in. The fifth grader would come in. The fourth graders would come in and walk around. And our first graders had practiced learning their facts. And so then they would have their little spiel that they would tell the other students. And it was lots of fun. And the kids did great. And that's Camp First Grade at Explore Academy Las Cruces. I don't know. Do you guys need anything else? Do you have any other questions for me?
I mean, I can just say that both of my children have absolutely loved Camp First Grade.
Yeah.
Emma still talks about bats to this day and thinks they're the greatest thing ever, but I don't want them in my yard. And the enthusiasm absolutely is contagious. I mean, the kids have loved learning in your class, and I think every kid that walks through that door in first grade is in for a real treat.
Oh yeah, we try to do a lot of like fun, spontaneous thing. Like so far already, we brought water balloons the first Friday of school. No, that's not forest and camping, but it's hot and it was fun and it was a surprise. The kids didn't know about it. We had over 200 water balloons, and then we got to talk to the kids about the importance of cleaning up the water balloons and how they're not good for the birds. And so they just were very into going and finding every single little piece of water balloon they possibly could. Monday, the second Monday of school, was National Watermelon Day. So of course you have to have watermelon on National Watermelon Day. So we brought in a watermelon, and we all had watermelon, and we've had popsicles. Our flavor day was lots of fun. We decorate a lot. We had little turned our doors into the openings of tents, and we had tablecloths on our tables that looked like that red and white gingham picnic, typical picnic. We had little trees on our tables. The kids got to make a forest themed trail mix, and I don't know, we just try to, they've been earning badges the first couple weeks of school. Like they learned how to use their pencil correctly. They learned how to use the bathroom correctly, to follow the rules in the hallway, and they earned little badges. And then on that Friday, they got to make like a little camp vest that had their like their park ranger type style name on it. And then they got to put all their badges on their vests. And I don't know, we tried to do our best to make it lots of fun and hands-on for the kids. And so I'm glad to hear. I mean, I love Luke and Emma. So, Mema, my Mema.
Great job. Yes, you do a great job.
Thanks. Does anybody have any questions for me? Are we good?
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I love everything that I heard, and you're igniting passion for learning, early on. So, your role is really important. So thank you for making our school, such a exciting place to be at. And that is contagious. I can see your, passion for what you're doing. And I'm sure that spills over into the classroom and the kids see it. So I just want to thank you for your work and your role that you do.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to be at Explore Academy, being in a traditional school setting for, I don't know, like 16 years or something. It is such a, a lift of my spirit or whatever, teaching, to be able to teach without being told what to say, how to say it, when to say it. We're going to do this worksheet. We're going to do this workbook. Like, it's so nice to come in and be able to be creative and do the fun things with kids. And it's not all about worksheets and papers and pencils. And so I really appreciate the opportunity that you guys have created for me and all the other teachers and the students. So thank you so much for that.
Well, I think that we need to capitalize on that. That sounds like that's what we need to market and promote, so other families.
No, Alexis.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking about that. I don't know if this is my place or not, but when you guys were talking about like middle school marketing, I don't know if like making a little commercials where the teachers get to, like, the sixth grade science teacher, this, or the seventh grade whatever teacher, and this, and they get to kind of share their passions, and then you put those videos out on social media, so it's coming directly from the teachers and maybe even other students.
Yeah, it was on my list.
Yeah, okay. Get them to stay so that you like it's not just pictures, but it's like video and words and actual human interaction of some sort, even though through its video, but and get them to see and hear like how they can learn and how it's different from the traditional school because it is different and it needs to be different. So I don't know. Okay. I will let you guys get financing.
Yeah, right. When is your final like culminating day of the camp theme?
Well, so the research project won't happen until the spring. So up until then,
Okay.
we're just learning all the skills and stuff to be able to use those skills to do the research. So I think with this last year we did it was the first year that we actually did the research project one where as big as we did, and I think we started a little later than we should have. And I think this year we're planning on starting like right after spring break and
Okay.
stretching it and having it
I
built.
was just thinking about inviting a park ranger to come be like
Oh,
a
that's
guest
so it's
in
funny
the
because in Miss Bernal's neighborhood where she lives, there is it's a truck at a house, and it doesn't say game and fish and game, but it says something park rangery on the truck. So she's like, "How bad would it be to go knock on their door and introduce
You should.
myself?" I was like, "Do
You
it!"
should.
yeah.
So yeah,
I have a group of park rangers come to my state conference and I can contact them and say who's the park ranger nearby who could maybe connect so we could do some connecting if she doesn't feel like knocking
go
on his
knocking
door
on the door. Yeah.
or
Well,
her
they have
door because
park
it could be
rangers
her.
Yes.
at
Yes.
Dripping Springs too.
Yes,
Not
Dripping
far at
Springs
all.
has park rangers. So that's why I was thinking we could get one of them to come down and maybe bring some of the things they find out there. And
Yeah.
if
No,
we
I
can't take the kids to the Dripping Springs National Park. So,
yeah, Miss
or I
Bernal,
mean, Oregon
Miss
Mountain.
Bernal does a really good job of reaching out to the
Okay.
community and setting that up. That's all her. So she
Yeah.
will like. I mean, I back her up and I make calls as much as I can, but like it's her brain that does all of that. And even
Yeah.
she runs our run club, after school run club, and she's always bringing in the police and the firemen to come in and do run club with the kids and stuff. So yes, I know she would really appreciate the help in contacts of different groups like that. So
Okay.
I
Well,
do too, but like I said, like that's
yeah,
her.
yeah. No, if she has contacts, I don't want to step on our toes,
Oh
but I'm
no, no,
offering a resource if we need to
she
reach
would
out.
really appreciate that because right now her only contact is a truck in her neighborhood, and she hasn't quite developed the.
Well, I think I need to go on a hike in Dripping Springs and go
I
meet the
know.
park ranger then.
Okay, all right, but yeah, any resources you have, we would gladly take the support in. That would be awesome.
Perfect.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Alexis, anything else?
I don't I don't think so. I
Okay,
think I'm good.
cool. All right, Sam, you want to promote Josh and we'll hop
I,
over to
sh
finances?
I sure do.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Josh.
Hi,
How's
Josh.
everyone?
Welcome to the
Hello.
party.
Thank you. Glad to be here. We have quite a bit to review. Some catch up from the following months. First off is the June check register. So this is the closing month of the fiscal year. So we got a lot of invoices in. Just in the nick of time. Very few accounts payable invoices squeak through, which is night and day compared to last year, which is great. So you'll see those expenses here. One that does stand out in particular is DMH Law LLC for $63,498. It's the final payment to Dustin for the year, which does put us over um, the $60,000 range for the year for that particular vendor. We did discuss this in the board meeting about a month or two ago that this would be an audit finding. So just for the record, that is the last payment there. Um, Also, you'll see some expenses relating to construction that the school is starting to work on while the kids are out. here in Sunbelt Rentals, and then general cleanup, payments to the loan, of course, rents, and then operational expenses. In the P card, you'll see some supplies and supply assets, and also some expenses related to the outdoor grants. It's weird that the P card, the expenses hit some of them. Oh, that'll be in July, but I'll explain that. But some of these are for the outdoor grant. These that hit in June were reimbursed by PED, so we received those funds back. Anything related to that. Then you'll see a huge payroll expense for June. That's because the school pays out double checks in June to close out the fiscal year. Any questions on the June check register? Nope.
Nope.
All right. Move on to July. Um, some of the some of the squeaky by APs here, and then beginning of the year expenses. One big one in particular is NIPSIA risk. It needs to be paid in July every year, and that's for the whole year. Really big expense, around $160,000 here. Some DPD construction for the ramp um, that's being worked on there at the school to be in compliance. And then we'll have some other DPD constructions related to the kitchen, and that is being covered by the grants, the kitchen grants. And then you'll see UMB Bank NA, which is the rents for the school here twice. We paid a little bit early for August just to make sure that that payment hit on August 1st, but the expense came out of the bank at the end of July. And you'll see payments to the P card and general supplies and materials, as well as some outdoor grant expenses. So some of the outdoor grant expenses didn't make it in as an expense in time before the fiscal year, just because of the way that the P card works. You will see those expenses come in July instead of June, and there's a hard cutoff when it comes to June 30th for PED. So we didn't receive the full amount of that fund and reimbursements to that fund. So some of these expenses will just go into operational for this upcoming year. And then below, you'll see smaller than usual payroll. These are the necessary employees that work pretty much year round or started a little bit early, get paid in July.
And the only comment I have is for the larger group. So we had talked about in our finance meeting yesterday about doing a small amendment to our P card policy and procedure to make sure that any P card uses for grants are spent well before the 30-day cutoff for whatever the grant is, so we don't wind up incurring those costs in the future. I think this last year has been a huge learning curve in all the different nuances for all this stuff, but we can mitigate that going forward.
And I just have a question. That is the electric bill. I mean, that's pretty high for July as compared to June. And there's like 2 weeks, in 2 week difference.
Mm-hmm. The Solstice Solar bill.
The El Paso electric bill is like $4,000, and there's
Oh, okay. Here you go. Right. I believe that's two invoices in one. So that's just one batch payment for invoices. That's not 1 month.
okay, because there's that 727, and then if you look up, there's another one 719, or where did it go? Yeah,
4,000
715.
here.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been, seeing some people saying, hey, my electric bill, went up. We know it's hot. But there was some errors happening. People were saying they made an error. They made an error. I mean, again, I know you said a couple of invoices, but I mean, that's like in like 2 weeks' time, it looks like.
So the school is moving to a new model, which you'll see down here for solar electricity, which will help save on regular electricity from El Paso. That will look more around like the 1,700 a month hopefully around 2000 when school really does get going. So that started in July and should be the main electrical provider for the school going forward. So we'll see some savings there. How much, I'm not too sure until starts to get going.
And
Okay.
Violetta, I think from your concern, those are just the dates that the payments were posted. So they weren't necessarily the cutoff date for that bill was, what was it? Can you scroll up, Josh? July 9, and then the next one, or July 15, and then the next one was July 27. It was probably a June invoice for all of June, and then a July invoice for all of July.
Right.
Mhm. And then, compared to last year, is it about the same last year? Did we look at that? Because again, that to me
I
seems
mean,
really high.
no, no. I mean, utilities everywhere are raising significantly. I mean, I think we all see it personally as
And
well.
I
But
think
yeah,
I think some of the issue
it's
for the school too is part of the like HVAC and things are it's just old. So it's not as draft proof or as, the windows maybe aren't as great as they should be to be as energy efficient as possible. And so we're slowly hacking away at some of that as we have funds, but it's just an old building. And so I don't think we're going to be able to maximize or minimize electric costs as much as we would like. But by doing the solar thing that Josh was talking about, partnering with El Paso Electric, we're doing what we can to help decrease a lot of those costs.
The other thing too, because we had this concern when we saw the electric bill, we were like, what in the world? It turns out that El Paso Electric also has summer rates. So they jack up the rates in the
Yes, they
summer.
do.
And so we got hit really hard with that. And because those AC units are so old, when I don't remember the lady's name, who's part of the foundation, came through and toured the building, she was really clear. You cannot turn those units off. And we have discovered that in the past that if you turn the unit off, a lot of times it will not come back on. So we have to make sure that all of the units are running, even though there really isn't a lot of people there. So it was a big hit, though. We were not very happy when we saw the bill.
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And then just the last items, there's like a repeated, looks like the same item, IDEMIA and USA. I mean, it's only $60, but it's like repeated several times. What is that?
That is curriculum related to the outdoor grant. I think
No,
the way that they purchased it, it was, that many items for $60 instead of one batch payments of all $60 items. Is that right, Alexis?
no, sorry to tell you no. That is when teachers get a background check, we pay for their
Oh,
background check.
that's
So
it. That's
we hired 6 new people, and that's their background check. And so the way the ticket generates is I
right.
have to generate a separate ticket for each person, and that's what that is.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thanks.
That's right.
Sorry,
Yeah, we
Josh.
typically paid that. No, it's okay. Most of what happened in June was the outdoor grant. That's why I assumed that. But I remember us talking about Edemia. It's usually paid through invoice, and we just used the P card this year, just for ease of payment. Any other questions about expenses, vendors, amounts? Okay. Uh, Looking at the bank reconciliation for June, school started with around $1.1 million, had receipts of around 521,000 and disbursements of 874,000. So negative net activity for June, which was expected with the SEG rolling down in the spring. So the ending balance as of June 30th is 780,000 with outstanding payments of around $65,000. The expected general ledger and general ledger don't match this month because we had to initiate a journal entry to move some money, which is this $33,000 here. And I'll show you that journal entry. So this is movements from IDEA grants to operating. So there was an overage of expenses for the IDEA grants, and we didn't want to go over in that fund um, more than what the school was allocated. So we had to move that money somewhere, and that money was moved to operations as an expense. All right, moving on to July. Ending fund balance of June will be the beginning fund balance of July, 780K. School had 659K in receipts, 851K in disbursements, so negative net activity. The big chunk of this was the risk NIPSIA bill of $159 there, so that's a big chunk there. And the school had outstanding payments around $14,000 still from the previous year. So all in all, ended the month of July with $588,000 in the bank. Expected general ledger and general ledger both match, so no JEs to present to the board in July. Any questions on the check register bank reconciliations for June or July?
No, but for the broader group from our finance meeting yesterday, these numbers look like they're continuing downward, but as long as we can bump the enrollment numbers up, we should still be fine based on all of the projections. Josh, correct me if I'm wrong. As long as we can get to some of those 424, 25 numbers, we'll still be fine based on all the projections and the safeguards we've put in place over the last year. So we need to work
Correct.
really hard on enrollment and making sure those numbers go up and stay up far through that 40th day. So again, shameless plug for any and all creative out of the box ideas for specifically middle school students. As you think of them, please pass them over. All right, back to you.
Uh, okay, so we're gonna review the bars. There are many of them. First, we'll review around five of the ending fiscal year bars. So pretty much all these are cleanup bars, except for this one. We increased USDA by $105,778.07 for a full budget of $298,979.34. This is based off of the reimbursements that the school was getting. So we increased there. This was already approved by Angel at the beginning of the year, so we could submit this to PED to make sure that it was in this budget, and then we had budget authority. Next is the USDA state bar increase. This is another increase based on the reimbursements the school is getting, and we upped it $25,564.77 for a total budget of $211,328.77. This is again to have budget authority, and this was approved by Angel before the cutoff of bars for the year. Next is an increase in revenue in 23000. This is based on the money that was received this year in non-instructional support. So any fundraising activities, things like that during the year goes into this account. The school received around $3,480, so we had to make sure that we had budget authority to be in compliance. Okay, and this is just a cleanup transfer bar. Essentially, what the auditors look at every year is making sure that you have budget authority in fund into function. The school had plenty of budget authority in food operations and services, so we moved a lot of that money from operations where it was like tallied in the beginning of the year for budget. And with the increase of the USDA and USDA state grants, we were able to move some money over there for that, and then create more space in function 2100, which is support services and students. So it's movement of $11,759.89, essentially, out of function 3100 food operations to 2100 support services to be in compliance and have budget authority in function 2100. Pretty technical, but they're really it's really important for the auditors to have budget authority in the function and fund. Next is a maintenance bar for operations to move some money into function 2000. Again, this is kind of the same thing that the other bar was. It's just moving some money to make sure that it's cleaner, that there's some items in 2400 and 2600, in which we had plenty of budget authority. So we moved that money into 2100, 2200, 2500, and 2700, to cover expenses that the school had in those function areas. Okay, so those are the old bars for FY 25-26, and now we have the new fiscal year. The first one is unfortunately a decrease in student transportation. The new funding formula changed this year, and there are more schools that are using transportation. So unfortunately, with that, there's less money in the pot to give out to everybody to fully cover transportation expenses. And because of that, PED decreased the amount that they're going to give to the school by $42,845. So that brings the adjusted budget to $380,058 for transportation contractors. To
And
cover the expense, it will come out of operating, unfortunately.
and you said the reason for the change that they told you was based on losing the
An,
word.
effic- an
Thank you.
efficiency
And
rating.
yes. So how well are we actually utilizing the buses potentially? They haven't really been able to explain it well. So we're still asking a lot of questions, mostly Josh. Josh is asking a lot of questions to PED to see if we can get some more explanation on that. Because it is a pretty significant decrease for us. And if it is tied to utilization, potentially the construction project, which will maybe force more kids on buses will help. But if not, we may wind up having to look at letting one of those buses go as much as we don't want to.
Correct. They are supposed to release, I guess, or send out a memo that explains the new um, formula, because lots of schools have questions on it, especially when they're seeing that their transportation is being cut by quite a bit. So that release is going to be really important to try to understand the funding formula. But from my discussions with PED transportation, there's a lot of factors involved in it. And they rate each school in an efficiency rating from 1 to 5, and then that's how it's determined how much funding that the school will get. All right. Next, we have an increase. So this isn't really an increase. It's really an initial budget, but there's like, the NPED, if their budget is open and there isn't any money, but the fund is open, you have to submit an increase instead of an initial budget for a particular fund. So this is IDEA, which is 94,261. This is exactly what we had in their budget and what we were expecting to receive this year. So it's called an increase, but really it's just the initial budget for the IDEA grant. Next is the preliminary allocation. Same thing here. For Title I, we are expecting $232,197.62. It was built into the budget. That's what we assumed that we were going to get, and they're just essentially having the initial budget slash increase start at the beginning of the year instead of giving it to the school before the fiscal year ended, and then it's already in the budget. So PD is just a little late on this. Okay, next is projected carryover from Title I. So these are the funds that weren't expensed in Title I from last year that carry over to this year to be used for this year, and that's $3,697.49. And we have a whopping 22 cents of carryover for teacher slash principal training and recruiting. That'll carry over to be used for this year for salaries for instructional assistants. Next is rental fees associated with replacement buses that Herrera replaced some buses in the past years. So we need to submit a bar for those rental fees. and that amount is $66,658. What we'll need from Herrera, which is kind of like pulling teeth, is the title and registration plus an amended contract. I know you all worked really hard on that initial one. We're gonna have to go back to him and ask for an amended one, unfortunately, for this bar to go through. But it really is necessary for this bar to go through in order to get some money back in the pocket of the school for rental fees associated with those replacement buses. And I believe that's the last one. Yep, last bar.
All right. Any questions on those from the group? Otherwise, we'll stop right here and we can do all the voting. Okay, I'm gonna try and get them all right. I wrote them all down. Josh, just double check me as we go through them, make sure I didn't miss any. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the June and July 2026 check registers as presented, the June and July 2026 bank reconciliations as presented, the June 2026 journal entries. There were none for July. And then the following bars for the 25-26 school year. So 581-000-25-26-0038I, 0039I, 0040I, 0041T, 0042M, and then bars for the 26-27 school year. 581-000-26-27-0003D, 0004I, 0005I, 0006I, 0007I, and 0008I. Is that right?
Yep,
Okay.
perfect.
And I second that for us to approve it.
Okay. Sam, roll call real quick.
Angel,
Yes.
Christine,
Yes.
Violetta,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
your motion carries unanimously.
Perfect. All right, back to you, Josh. Thank you.
All right, we have one more thing just as an informational item for the board. This is the final cash report of the year. So this is submitted to PED already. This is essentially the actuals that will be submitted to the auditor on Friday. And this shows the beginning balances here at the top that the school came in this year with, the revenue for particular funds that the school had this year, expenses for each particular fund that the school had, liabilities associated with each fund, any adjustments. This adjustments is for a prepaid expense. So the school paid $16,500 for an item or service that was for FY26. You had to make those adjustments right there. This area here of outstanding loans, it's basically just loans from the operational fund for different funds if they're waiting for a reimbursement to come in that hasn't come in by June 30th. You'll basically borrow from operational to have enough cash on hand. So that's why you'll see this negative in this outstanding loan here area. And then you'll see other areas where their outstanding loan is just being borrowed from operational and some other funds down here. So you'll see the ending cash in operational is around $563,000. Food services borrowed a little bit of money because we're expecting that money to come in reimbursements. The state funded lunch program has a balance of 122,000, non-instructional. We saw the bar about this one for ending cash of $3,480. Flow through is reimbursements for anything that is state mandated that's coming in, local grants, which are has an RFR still waiting, flow through grants has an RFR still waiting, direct grants has some RFR still awaiting. And then the one capital outlay one of the two capital outlay funds, the lease assistance, which is completely wiped out, does not have any carryover or ending cash going into next year. And the SB9 state match has ending cash of 16,000, which will be used for this upcoming year. All in all, ending cash was $715,642.26, which matches exactly what the ending balance of the school at the end of the year, the bank balance. If you add in the outstanding checks of $65,338.97, it matches exactly what the cash reports is and what the school ended with in the bank account.
And I would like to give everyone here a high five because that number is black and not red. So high five.
Yes.
We are in the right direction.
Yeah, big time. Not red at all, and it's six figures, big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after we review this, the school is going to have to post this on their website where all the cash reports are held just to be in compliance. So FYI there. If you want to view it again, it'll be on the website. That is all I have for the evening. But here for questions if y'all have any.
All right. I think we're good on finance stuff from you, Josh. Thank you for putting all this together and for your direction over the last year. We couldn't have done it without you. So
No,
we do
no, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
All right. And I
Only
think
only getting better from here. So excited about
Yeah.
that.
So
I'll
Josh,
cross it
the
all the
change
fingers.
in SEG hasn't, they never approved that change of student enrollment in SEGs, right? They left it, the legislator didn't reduce the amount of SEGs per student enrollment again, right? They did that one
Not
time and they didn't.
that one time, yeah. Again,
Okay.
for the shortfall. And we're,
I
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
it's still less, right? Unfortunately. But it's like we're like not it's not make or break um for the school, and the new forecast that we have has that built in. Really
Okay.
the big kicker that we have is right now is enrollments where the school's gonna be.
Right.
Because we don't hit our projected enrollment, then we'll have to make some adjustments from there. But there's still plenty of time.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. I think that was it, Josh. So thank you. Have a great evening. I
Yep,
appreciate
no
it.
problem.
I will
Yep, no
let you
problem.
know what we find out Friday about Herrera.
Yeah, please do.
Meeting.
Yep.
And can you do me a
Thanks.
quick favor and let me know, can you send me an email and let me know what has to be amended on the contract so we can also talk to Dan about that when we talk to him?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can do that.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, I think the last thing on the finance section was just security grant. And just to let the group know that we did in fact apply for the school violence prevention program grant under the COPS program through the Justice Department. So we added things like cameras, window film, walkie-talkies, some security measures for the doors. I feel like there was more, but I forgot all of the things that it encompassed. But that grant does have a 25% match. So if we are awarded that grant, awardees will be noted on or about 1 October, and we would be responsible for 25% of that. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. If we somehow are awarded that grant, there's only about 200 schools or entities, I guess, nationwide. So I'm not going to hold my breath, but we did apply. We got worked out all the kinks. So now we have the ability to apply for more federal grants in the future with a little more ease. So that was all I had for that one. Okay. I think that's it for finance. So moving on to governing council business. Bye, Josh. Okay. For action, annual indicator 3C spreadsheet review and assurance document. Sam, can you pull that up and walk everybody through it?
I sure can. And I just had it. Oh, there it is. Yay. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I think I'm sharing the right thing, right?
Yes.
It's
Yep.
this spreadsheet. Okay.
Mhm.
So in the new performance framework, there is an indicator called Indicator 3C, and it is essentially how I like to explain it is it is the charter school's equivalent to like accreditation for districts, even though charters also have to be a part of accreditation. Um, it is the exhaustive list of all PEC specific, specific, and federal specific um, requirements that during annual monitoring, the Charter Schools Division will liaise with the various departments and divisions to make sure that the school is in compliance with. There's nothing new or exciting that deviates or changes what happens in the day-to-day operations of the school. Um, it's what the school does as a part of the public school code, to be perfectly honest. But they have created a list to say these are the things we will be looking at because before in the old performance framework, there was an indicator similar to this, and it was called it was named reporting requirements, and there wasn't a list. And so schools would battle back and forth with the CSD about like, well, which part did we miss? And the target seemed to always be moving. And so now in the new performance framework, the PEC is really committed to transparency. And so they update this annually, which is why you don't just agree to it one time because legislatively things change, and therefore the list gets updated. So the board, um, basically the board president, signs and assures that this has been reviewed and that you were aware that the list exists, and that the school is required to meet these requirements.
And
Are
there
there
aren't any requirements on here that are brand new from last year that we haven't seen.
I don't think so, especially because we don't have like the legislative session hasn't happened for January. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So
Okay.
this is basically the same list as last year.
Okay.
And so nothing has changed. But they talk about the governing board meeting and webcasting and making sure that that's happening properly and that you're following special education laws. And as you see, the majority of these things, because it tells you the primary monitoring source, it's basically them going to all the different departments. A few of them have to do with the site visit, like observation of whether or not you're living your mission or not, whether or not you have menstrual products in the bathroom, things like that, that they have to physically observe. But the rest of it, are NOVA reports and them liaising with the various departments within PED, to just make sure that you are meeting the requirements, that you're submitting your dash timely, um, that you have these policies. These are the very few policies that they do say that you must have. The anti-distraction for the wireless communication device, which I know that you have. The water safety guidance, which I think you've adopted last year.
Um,
I do
okay,
not
now
know
you're
what
back.
happened. Did
There you
everyone
are.
else get kicked out? It was just me?
Nope, it was just you. Your internet like paused. It was a really great face you made on your pause
Oh,
too.
good. At least I hope that was entertaining. I hope that I was panicking. So I hope it was entertaining for everyone else. I
You didn't
apologize
panic.
for that.
It's all
Um,
good.
and so yes, they cite like the very few policies that they say that you must have. Um, and you do. And so
Okay.
unless there are questions, I would just ask that you move to adopt the 3C annual compliance requirements, um, and assure that they will happen.
So my only question is this all says 25, 26.
I
Do
know
we
they
need to
don't
do
have a new
anything
one
26?
yet.
Okay.
This is
All right.
straight
So
from
it really
them.
is last year's.
It's
Okay.
truly last year's. This is straight from the PEC website.
Oh,
Sam,
there's
so last week when we went to that meeting that I don't know why I went to, didn't Bridget say that we were going to wait because they moved the deadline for this to like October because they need to get it approved through the PEC, or was that something different?
So yes, and
okay.
so it was in everyone's epicenter. And so people put it on their agendas for August. And then they had that meeting and said, "Oh, well, it's going to be October." And so my understanding is that if you are approved, like you can approve it or you can wait till October. But since it was already on the agenda, I figured I would just present
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Any questions on this from the
But if
group?
you would like, you can table if you would like, and then we can represent in October. But
No.
it's a
We'll take care of it.
CSD boo-boo that happened.
Okay. All right. Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to adopt the C3 annual compliance requirements and make the comment that we will comply with said requirements.
Do we need a second? I'll second
Mhm.
motion
Okay.
that we will comply.
Sam, do we need a roll call since it's a
I mean, it's up
requirement?
to you. It
Okay.
doesn't
If
hurt.
we
It never
don't, all in
hurts. It
favor?
never hurts.
Okay.
Aye.
You too. Everybody's hands up? Okay. All right.
Everyone.
Okay. Okay, so we're good with that one. All right, I'm gonna share my screen now to talk about the board assessment. So we got everybody's sorry, let me move everything out of the way. We got everybody's comments back on the board assessment, so I'm not gonna step by step through most of these. Um, is it linked on the agenda, Sam? I can't remember.
I don't think it is only
Okay.
because I think they've put it into a portal now.
Well, they have, yeah, but if anybody outside of the group wanted to view it, I'm not opposed to having it available for others to look at. But if not, that's okay too. We can talk about it.
Is it where, if you tell me where it is, I will link it.
You have it.
I have it? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
hmm Okay. Um, so this was just how the board views ourselves and our functions along at the school for last school year. So not this current school year, last school year. So we rated ourselves pretty highly on a lot of these. I'm kind of gonna touch base more on the ones that we did not get fives or rate ourselves on as fives. You'll see some of these have fours and fives, but I made it just do a mathematical formula that says whatever is the majority is what we will go with instead of making um, like 4.7 or something like that. So it's whatever is the majority is what we will go with. And then, so governing board shows most members attend board meetings consistently. I think that has gotten better over time. We still have a little ways to go, and I think some of that will kind of tie into the next one with recruitment. So the more members that we can get, even if we can get one or two, that will also help the attendance numbers because um, one person missing won't be as big of a deal. Um, and then governing board regularly engages with school staff and community. We were kind of split on that one, whether it was the middle or doing really well on that. And then there is for operations, a process for operational decision making that is clear and followed by staff, and processes where all operational decisions are checked by another staff member. I think some of this potentially is just what happens at the school. Some of this is outside of our purview as board members because it falls under day-to-day operations rather than board specific management. So I think we are doing okay on these based on lots of conversations I've had with Alexis, and as we continue to go through policies and procedures and other things that kind of tie into the greater scheme of operations, um, and how the board manages things, I think some of these will trend upward in how we view ourselves. And if you guys have any other comments for any of these, feel free to stop me too. But another operations one, the school regularly and positively engages with the community. Again, we're split here. Finance, the school's debt to asset ratio is stable. I think this one also is trending up. Last year was still, we were still working through some stuff. So it's probably not as great as it eventually will be. But I do see this one continuing to increase as the school becomes more stable. Worked pretty good on talent. I think a lot of the staff are really excited to be there and teach and explore, which shows throughout how they teach our kids, which is awesome. Culture, so attendance, chronic absenteeism, and student behavior. I think this is also just one of those policies and procedures that we may not be wholly aware of, but that we will continue to refine over time as we keep reviewing these along with student handbooks, staff handbooks, etc. Just to make this a more robust picture. And then staff culture is positive, welcoming, and respectful. We did have a few staff things last year that we had to have addressed. So this one should hopefully trend up this year. And then students are thriving and showing growth across subgroups. This one is pretty high, but it wasn't a 5. So on all of these, I mean, the lowest we scored ourselves was a 3, which is a lot better than last year. I think there were a lot of 1s and 2s in finance operations from this type of spreadsheet that we rated last year from the previous year. But I will fill out, unless that you guys have some glaring opinions that I did not accurately capture, based on how the consolidated responses for the group. I'm going to put in this recommended rating into the indicators of success survey that the PEC sent out. And associated with that survey is an opportunity for us to apply for a $10,000 grant from the PEC to help us in one of these areas where we rated a 3 or lower. So it is my recommendation, and I did talk to the finance committee about this yesterday, that we use this positive engagement with the community, since we rated a 3, and use it for marketing or engagement expenses. I think that will directly help also with enrollment and other school perception issues that we're still trying to work through in the community to make sure that we continue that upward trajectory. So I'll kind of pause there for any questions, comments, discussion.
I think sometimes the questions about operations on a day-to-day basis are outside the governance council's purview. And so it's difficult to answer those if you are not constantly at the school or engaged with the school the way that a parent would be. And so we don't see some of those things just because we're not engaged in day-to-day operations.
Right. And I think some of this too, under the operations sections and maybe a few others, is also behind the scenes. How well do you trust your head administrator to run things? So we have a really great head administrator who's doing a really good job. And as we're learning through and experiencing challenges, we're continuing to put policies and procedures in place that make all of these operational things better and easier and more, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but just
Measurable or manageable.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are great words. So I think this will keep getting better. And this survey will go to the PEC as part of our requirement for our charter contract, but they don't look at any of these answers. This is purely a self-evaluation. They do not evaluate us on any of these. So even if we would look at operations and say we don't know anything about operations and mark it all as 1s, then they're not going to look at that at all and dock us somewhere else for this. This is purely evaluation tool just for the board. So these are things if we wanted to ask Alexis more questions on operations. I don't necessarily know if it's our lane, but if we ever did want an overview or something that maybe wasn't day to day or wanted her to explain some of these a little more in depth, we could certainly use something like this to say what we wanted more information on. But I think honestly, over the last year, we have done a really good job um, engaging and making sure that we're doing the right things, which have set us on a really good path. And I think we just need to continue on that path and make the school more sustainable, make it, just a better, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know, a better, like a better place. We'll leave it at that because my brain doesn't
Well, I
pick up
think
the
the
right word.
consistency has gotten better.
It has. Yeah.
And so, yeah. And again, if you go to the school and the kids are happy and the teachers are happy, well, then we're doing our part.
Yeah, I texted Sarah and I was like, your passion just kind of shows through. And so I do think that we need to showcase a lot more for staff too, especially those that are super excited about teaching kids because it shows. And it shows through the kids because my kids loved attending their class just because of the passion they had translated into the kids. Made learning fun and easier for them. So, okay. So we do have to, right, Sam, vote to approve our discussion maybe of the survey so I can get it submitted. Okay. And then is there any disagreement with using or applying for the grant for marketing and engagement expenses? Otherwise, that is what I will put in the grant. Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the board self-assessment as it has been presented and the grant utilizing funds for marketing and engagement.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
awesome. So that one is done. The next ones are just kind of housekeeping things. So yearly, we should review who is on the finance committee and who is on the audit committee. So I am fine to stay on the finance committee. Terry said yesterday he's good to stay on the finance committee too. Christine, are you still okay being on the audit committee for the next year? Okay. Violetta, are you dying to be on either committee? If the answer is no, that's okay too.
I'm
We're the
good.
only four here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. So we will keep committee whatever's as they are right now. What's up, Sam?
Is there a second board member on the audit committee? I think you need to have two members.
I don't know if we ever had two.
Wasn't it Gabby?
Is it?
We had one.
No,
and then the
I
parent.
think we only had one last year as well.
I think it's only one. Can you find out for us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I do know that we are lacking a parent volunteer for the audit committee. Our parent volunteer from last year, they're no longer at the school. So we do need to find a parent volunteer for the audit committee. I know Alexis has been putting it out in the newsletter as of this last week, but if you know anybody who has even a slight interest in our school and the finances of the school, it will be the audit from the previous year, but please send them my way. And I
It's
can talk to
two.
them. Is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Violetta, is that something you want to do, or do you want me to ask Gabby?
I can do it. The commitment, what's the commitment? Before I answer yes, what is the commitment? How often or? Okay, then minimal, I will do.
Okay. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Christine.
it's very minimal. There's a audit at the beginning, in the middle, and then at the end of the year, and it's done by PEC and the CPA group that audits our stuff. And then most of the time they'll ask us directed questions about specific things, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, count me in.
So
Okay.
just a heads up, they are asking for a meeting with us in September, I believe the week of September 28th. So I'll send an email if we can try to get that scheduled.
When you say us, who do you mean?
The audit committee.
Audit committee. So they'll ask us questions about the school, questions about governance, questions about morale, things like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, if it's the week of the 28th, I can. If it's the week before that, I will be in Albuquerque all week. So
She says schedule the meeting during the week of 9/28. So I'll
okay,
start the email chain so we
perfect.
can get that done.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so Sam, I assume I have to motion for the committee members
Yeah,
changes, or
you can just move to nominate.
okay, I will move to nominate Violetta to be added to the audit committee.
Second.
Okay, we all vote you in, Violetta. Here, here. Congratulations. You're now the proud member of the audit committee. All right. Okay, so we have finance committee, we have audit committee, still need audit parent to volunteer, so we'll keep working on that. If anybody knows anybody, send them my way. And then officer positions. So right now it's me as chair, Christine as vice chair, Violetta as secretary. Does anybody have a hankering to change any of those, or are we all okay where we're at?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay too.
Terry, do you want a officer position?
Okay.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep things as is for the next year. Sam, no votes needed, right? Okay. All right. So that one's done. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And then the policy and the procedure. So the financial internal controls policy and the procedure we talked about in the finance meeting yesterday. There are going to have to be some changes that are made, but we want Josh to do a review to make sure it's all complying with financial regulations and things. So I am going to vote to table these two policies, and the audit committee, the finance committee will continue to review them. We'll review at next month's finance committee meeting, and then we can discuss changes at next month's meeting. So I'm going to vote to table these for 1 month. Make a motion. I make a motion to table them for 1 month. I'll get my
Second.
words right eventually. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so that is done. All right, that's all the governing council business. So board comments, everybody should have received an email from PED. I think it came from PED for board training. So you are not automatically enrolled in board training in Canvas. You need to email them and ask them to put you in the Canvas modules for continuing members. So I already knocked all mine out. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I'm just gonna put a plug in for now that you are whatever. It's like Dan and I are doing more formal trainings,
Yes.
and we are doing one in Albuquerque. And so I don't know if anyone's feeling wild and wants to drive up for in-person Socratic style training. That will be happening this fall. And once we have the date solidified, I know this Santa Fe one for the northern schools is September 12th. I'll find out the date for October, but if anyone's wanting an in-person moment and a chance to collaborate with other board members, that is available.
Okay, and I know there were a few webinars on that email too, that the PED or CSD or somebody is putting on for that training. And we do have some type of training. I don't know if there's a cost through PCS&M as well. So there are lots of opportunities for training.
Yes. Oh, and the one we do is free. Sorry, just for clients.
Perfect.
Clients
Okay.
only. Just wanted to let you know.
What's up, Terry?
Quick question. For a forum reason, can three of us be in training at the same time or no? If it
Yes.
were to come up, can you? Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely can because there's no business. You're not conducting business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you can just put up like we would have we could put a notice of possible quorum up on your website just for a training, and it would just say that there's no business being discussed, but there will be a quorum of the board present. But that's a good question, Terry, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So plug just to start working on your training. We obviously have all year, but let's try and not wait till the end to get everything all done. I think that was the only other thing that I had that was not already on the schedule. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Do we have any no attendees? All right, so I'm gonna skip over public comment. Anything from you, Alexis? Good? Okay.
I guess they left.
We did, yeah, she left right after the finance part.
Gotcha.
Um, Okay, so next meeting then will be September 9. We did not get to the partial hybrid meeting this time around because the device we need for it didn't come in yet. So next month, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all the things, we should be able to do the hybrid at the school and online. So we'll have everything all set up. So September 9th will be the next board meeting at 6 o'clock, and I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:26. So thank you all. I appreciate you bearing with us on all the finance stuff. So have a great evening.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Good night.